So in this video, I'll be talking about the things I wish I knew before starting Amazon KDP. Unfortunately, there's a lot of generic and terrible advice out there, but I wish there was a video that I watched right at the start that would actually give me a lot of the truth and the right information. Now, I've been doing KDP for over 5 years, and I hope I'm going to share a lot of things that will resonate with you. So whether you are a beginner or you're somebody who is already quite knowledgeable in this industry, there is going to be quite a few things that I hope will still help you out. So the first point I want to make is that persistence is everything. Now, from watching a lot of videos online, especially on YouTube, you can start thinking that KDP is a get rich quick scheme. And this actually puts a lot of people in the complete wrong mindset because it's going to take time no matter who you are. And this actually forces many people just to quit early because they actually come in with a lot of the wrong expectations, thinking they're going to make money in the first few months or even in a year. But oftentimes that does not happen and actually takes consistent, repeated efforts over time. And I'll show you my example. So in December 2020, I roughly started in June 2020. So in that December, I made $1,688.45. And then just a year later, I made $2,735.31. And then in December 2022, I made $3,113.58, which is actually not a big jump from the previous year. So to think I put in all that work over a year and I didn't see a huge amount of results. And this is just 3 years into the business. A lot of people will think about giving up at that point because you've worked so hard over 3 years and you've not seen a massive improvement. A lot of people come into this business and where they want to get to is 10K plus each month. And even after 3 years, I still wasn't there, but I still kept on believing in this business model. I slightly changed my strategies and ideas. I'll share quite a lot of those things in that I actually did in this video. But then in December 23 was when I started to see a big jump and my efforts paying off. So I made $7,305.70. And then the biggest jump of all actually came in December 2024, where I made $26,257.97. And then I kind of sum it up here quite well that it doesn't happen overnight and that you shouldn't give up. Just imagine if I gave up after those 3 years, then I wouldn't have seen these massive results. And that's what I mainly focus on now, just incremental growth, focusing on just getting better 1% with each book rather than focusing on the outcomes or the overall picture. Just keep on improving steadily with each book, and then the results will come over time as improvement compounds and momentum actually builds up over time. And I actually love this quote by Albert Einstein. It just states that it's not that I'm so smart, it's just that I stay with problems longer. And that's the issue with a lot of people in this industry. They don't stay with KDP over a long time. They want quick results and they just give up. But it's not that I'm smarter than anybody else or better than anybody else. It's just that I've stuck with KDP for a long time. Now, one of the second biggest things that helped me to get results much faster is actually building a network and a community. As so many self-publishers, they try to go this alone, and publishing can be very isolating without a community of people that you can discuss things with. Now, I have a WhatsApp group with 2 other prominent self-publishers, and this just allows me to have a lot of new ideas. They give me fresh perspectives and creative concepts, things that I might not even think about. I'm always getting ongoing motivation from them, support, just to keep on going when things get difficult, and things will get difficult in this business. There's also some emotional support within the business as you get understanding from people who, again, they're sharing the same journey as you. They might have been at the point where you are at as well. So it's great to have that as well. And then also inspiration. You get creative energy from other people's success. So maybe when somebody has a really good month in the WhatsApp group, then they'll post it and it really inspires the rest of us to keep on pushing. So you can join groups, forums, masterminds, connect with like-minded people. People always see sometimes paying for certain groups as a barrier, which actually shouldn't be, because you should keep on constantly wanting to educate yourself, be around better people, keep on growing. So even if you have to pay to be in a group, that shouldn't be a limitation. You should be wanting to improve all the time and keep on developing yourself. And the best thing about community is that you're able to stay in the game long term. You're able to have a set of people that you're always around, always can discuss with, and it will just keep on pushing you further. So make sure that you find your own set of people or your own set of community. I'm thinking about even creating one myself, but you can also join my free newsletter and always ask questions on this YouTube channel too. Also, don't be afraid to reach out to people as well. Step out of your comfort zone. One of the mentors and the people that really helped me in this business at the moment, I reached out to, they were doing far better than me, but I just shot them an email, asked a few questions, and actually ended up, being really helpful to me in my business. And have actually helped me to take my business to that next level with just a few ideas that they shared with me. So again, do whatever you can to reach out to people, to find mentors and to join groups that will really take you to that next level. So the third and probably one of the biggest things I wish I knew from the start was to actually validate your niche. So instead of just going off assumptions and just publishing based on what you think might sell or just generic advice that you see, actually having some sort of criteria and being strategic, skipping, I call it the spray and pray method of just publishing so many books and just hoping it works out. In my first year alone, I actually published nearly 700 books. I spent a lot of time and it was completely exhausting. But I wish I had a process that would actually help me validate my niches before publishing. And doing this will actually save you so much time, money, and frustration down the line. So to have my own niche validation process, what I did was actually create a checklist, and this is just it on a small scale. So you need to make sure that there are a low amount of search results. It says search volume for some reason, but there should be a low amount of search results. You don't want to be competing against 20,000, 50,000 books. The lower, the better, as it's going to give you a much easier chance on getting to that first or second page. Now, most customers, they only really look at the first or the second page. So that's ideally where you want to be on. And make sure that when you are looking on that first or second page, when you're doing research, that you are seeing books with very low BSRs, as this indicates the demand. Because if you're seeing many books with BSRs of over 500,000, then there's not a huge amount of demand. But if you're seeing BSRs below 50,000, then that indicates a higher level of demand. So you really want to be publishing under keywords that have very low BSRs, and you're seeing books with BSRs under 50K. Then also take a look at the review count as well. It's going to be very difficult competing against a book that has over 1,000 reviews, but the less reviews that you see gives you more of a chance to compete as well. And a few other things that you really need to be thinking about is the cover quality. How can you create a better cover and actually stand out? Because that's one of the things that attract people to your book the most is the cover. So make sure you try to have the best cover within the niche. And then a final huge area that actually really compounded my results is actually having an interest within the niche. If you're passionate about the topic and it is really profitable, you're going to create a much better book just because you know the customer, you know what they're looking for, what they want. You can even create your own unique concepts and ideas just based on the knowledge that you have. And you actually enjoy the business a lot more when you are creating books that you are actually passionate about. And just doing this alone has really blown up my business. So if you're able to just blend that being passionate about a topic and then it being profitable as well, I think that is the perfect space to really grow in this business. Now, fourth, one of the biggest things I wish I did at the start was to actually focus on my strength. I tried to do everything myself from the start to the finish, and this actually ended up in me almost burning out and actually giving up on the business, as I thought that me doing every single part, I would just be focused on each area. I didn't want to get help from anybody, as they might mess up my business or not be able to do as good of a job as me. But as soon as I actually learned to just focus on my areas of strength, then it just allowed me to create a much better book overall, as I was outsourcing various tasks or finding useful tools such as using freelancers to create my covers, or using Ideogram as well, which is a fantastic tool. It actually allowed me to create a much better cover than I could. Finding great people who have many years of experience rather than using yourself. I'd rather hire a cover designer that has 5 to 10 years of experience rather than create a cover myself who maybe has just started Amazon KDP. It's just a great hack, a great way to create a better book overall. So think about the task that you can outsource in your business, maybe the areas that you're not so great at, or even areas of your weakness. You can find freelancers or find tools that will actually allow you to focus on your strength and just create a better book overall. So the moral of this is actually just to work smarter and not harder. If you're able to build a support team, then it's going to help you stay consistent over the long term. Many of the top earning self-publishers that I speak to, they actually have a team. They're not as involved in the process, but they have a group of people that actually do various parts of the process, and they're able to hire the best people to create the best book possible. So save yourself time and getting burned out, and look for people or tools that will elevate your KDP business. So the next point I want to make is that you must market your book. Now, this is one of the biggest reasons that I see why most people fail with this business model, as they just rely on Amazon to do all the selling. But marketing your books is essential, as it gives your book visibility. The more people that actually see your book, the more potential that you have of getting the sales. And you need to find ways to drive traffic to your books. But don't look at ads as some magic formula to help you start getting sales. They're just going to multiply the existing quality that you already have. So if you've actually taken time to build the foundations, you've done research, you've validated your book, you've got the best cover, you've got an attractive, enticing description, then on top of that, running ads, your book is going to sell. But if you haven't taken the time to do any of those things, then ads are not going to sell a bad book. So you need to take the time and build the right foundations. And don't allow money or anything to limit yourself, as even with no money, you can use tools such as TikTok or Instagram to actually promote your books organically. And I've got many videos on how you can do that. Even with a small budget, you can start with lottery ads and then just slowly reinvest the profits. I've got a video on lottery ads too. And if you have more of a budget, then definitely you can scale up and run multiple ads to the same book. That's something that I do. And I'll actually show you the early examples of when I started in 2020 running ads. So my first month, I made $27.30, and my ad spend was $11.49. Then the month after that, I made $22.20. My ad spend was $1.65. My third month, I made $22.15, and my ad spend was $8.10. Then in my fourth month, I actually made a little bit more. I felt like I was actually heading on the right track, where I made $87.69, and my ad spend was still quite small with just $2.46. And then in my fifth month, it went down again. And here I started to get a little bit frustrated, where I made $60.35 and my ad spend was only $10.06. So at that time, my ad spend was very low. Again, I was using very low cost per clicks and just doing kind of the lottery ad strategy at the start. But it still really helped sell my books. And then finally, in the 6th month was where things actually started to explode. So this goes back to the first point I mentioned on persistence. I stayed with this business, and then in the 6th month, I made $437.27 with an ad spend of $7.63. Then in December, which is always the big one where most people earn their highest amount in the year, I made $1,688.45 with an ad spend of $53.34. So I kept on running ads. I stayed consistent with this business. And then in December 2020 was when I finally saw the fruits of my labor and my hard work. So those are just a few things I really wish I knew from the start. They would have saved me so much time. And that's why I wanted to share my journey with you now. So hopefully you take something from this video. Let me know the point in the comments that most resonated with you. For me, the main thing about this business is having that perseverance, making sure that you stick with this business. If you believe in it and you enjoy it, stick with it over time, and then take on some of the other points that I've shared in this video, and hopefully you can have similar success too.